In the limited space that I have in my garage, harvesting worm casting can be a challenge in the winter because this is usually done outdoors. But in the winter, it has to be done in my garage. But in the winter, everything that is outside that needs to be indoor gets stored in the garage. So I'm always out of space. So I've come up with a different way of harvesting my worm castings. So instead of setting up my big harvester and all the large containers to catch the castings and the leftover product from the worm bin, what I have been doing is harvesting from each bin incrementally. So I'm going to take you over to one of my worm bin and show you what I have been doing. I just finished harvesting this bin. As you can see, it is half empty. In the spring is when I usually harvest my castings that the worms produce during the winter, so I never really do harvesting in the winter except for maybe February. So what I have been doing is, after I see that the bin is about 50-50, I would move all the content, all the papers and the large food scraps, large particles to one side of the bin. I would not feed that bin anymore. And then the other section, I would gather all of the castings that is ready for harvesting. Now, I don't really care if there's a few castings in there, but I try to get all the leaves collected in that location, all the leaves and paper in one location. Then I have the castings over here that needs to be harvested. So what I do is I come and I scrape off the top portion, allow it to dry out. So when I'm moistening the bin, I moisten this section, but the section with the castings does not get moistened. Then I'll just take off the top portion of it as it dries, and then incrementally I will just keep harvesting that way. Or if the material has dried down to the point where I can harvest all of it, which was the case with this at the moment, I just harvest everything. But I like to allow time for the worms to use the horizontal migration to move over before I actually harvest from them. And I find that it works because it saved me a lot of time. Because as you know, spring is usually a very busy time because you have to start prepping the garden for harvesting, and spring cleaning of the home needs to be done at that point in time as well. So a lot of things, usually the cleaning up after the winter, all those things need to be done, because even if you do your cleaning before fall or during the fall, it still always find a way to get messy, whether leaves that fall after you have cleaned the place or whatever the case may be. So because spring is such a busy time, I'm trying to do what can be done now so that I don't have to be overwhelmed when spring gets here. I'm already overwhelmed anyway, as a lot of you know. So this is what I have been doing to reduce the workload for spring and to maximize the space that I have in the garage so that I don't have to be troubled over trying to sort out space to harvest my castings. Hopefully this spring I'll be able to get the garage organized, or summer, get it organized to the point where I won't have to worry about that. But for now, this is what I have to work with. So this is the little sifter that I use when I'm not able to set up my large sifter. And this is the castings that I've harvested from that worm bin. There are quite a few worms, small worms, that made it through the sifter. I use a 1/8 screen. So quite a few worms are going to be in the casting. So what I'm going to be doing is put a bait cup that is sealed but has some holes in it so that the worms that are in the castings can be extracted safely. And I'm going to be doing that for a period of 6 weeks to 2 months to ensure that any cocoon that is in there will have enough time to hatch and make their way to the bait cup. So every few weeks I will go and extract whatever worms are in the bait cup or around the bait cup, and then replace it so that other worms can find it. So this is my little update on what I am doing in my limited space. So if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more videos like these, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, a time for grow.